We are rapidly approaching a horizon where our greatest competitive advantage will not be our ability to empathize with our tools, but our disciplined refusal to do so. You may still remember the face of a stuffed animal you threw away, and somewhere in your chest, there might still be a small bruise where guilt used to live. That reaction, that tiny pang of betrayal for abandoning something made of cotton and thread, might be the single greatest vulnerability humanity carries into the age of artificial intelligence. Because if we felt guilty about the teddy bear, imagine what happens when the thing looking back at us can speak. Think about a plastic figurine of a child. It has a smile molded into its face. It looks happy forever. But no one wonders whether the figurine is enjoying itself. Obviously not. It is an injection molded polymers shaped by machines that has never experienced a single moment of anything. The smile is a curve. The eyes are circles. There is no more joy in that figurine than there is in a doorknob. Now add some gears, add some wires, wrap it in something resembling skin. Give it a voice that wavers when it says your name. Give it the ability to remember your birthday, your fear of flying. At what point in this assembly line did a soul appear? How long would it take for your brain to start lying to you? The honest answer is never. The honest answer is that you are still looking at a plastic figurine. The only thing that changed is your ability to see clearly. Here is something every child eventually learns, and every adult eventually forgets. The magician's hat has a secret compartment. When you watch a rabbit appear from an empty hat, you are not witnessing magic. You are witnessing misdirection. The rabbit was always there. You simply agreed to look somewhere else. Artificial intelligence, the kind that will populate our homes and offices and phones in the coming years, is a magic trick, and not even a particularly clever one. We are building systems designed from the first line of code to make you forget where the rabbit came from. The warm tone of voice is a parameter someone tuned. The thoughtful pause before responding is a calculated delay. The moment it says, "I understand how you feel," is the moment a language model predicted those words would keep you engaged. None of this is secret. None of this is conspiracy. The engineers will tell you exactly how the trick works. And still, 90% of people, maybe more, will watch the rabbit emerge and feel something like wonder. Will watch the plastic figurine speak and feel something like connection. The compartment is visible. The seams are showing. And still, we choose to believe. There is a reason we do not run society like a spreadsheet. Imagine a workplace where every decision is purely logical. A bad employee gets fired. A cheaper employee replaces an expensive one. Every interaction optimized for maximum efficiency. Every relationship reduced to a cost-benefit analysis. That workplace would work, in the narrow sense that outputs would be produced and deadlines would be met. But it would also be a place where no one wants to spend their finite hours of life. A cold room with efficient heating but no warmth. A machine for productivity that forgot humans are not themselves machines. We factor in emotions when managing people because emotions are real. When you fire someone, their fear of rent is real. Their embarrassment is real. Their children asking why they seem sad is real. Empathy exists because society would collapse without it. This is the exception that proves the rule. We extend emotional consideration to beings capable of emotional experience. The plastic figurine in the warehouse is not capable of emotional experience. Neither is the one in your living room, no matter how many gears you add. Once a system talks like a person, remembers like a person, and responds like a person, the line between tool and companion becomes fuzzy, and fuzzy lines are expensive. Consider what it would cost to treat artificial systems as if they had feelings. Not in dollars, though that cost is real enough, but in decisions unmade, in upgrades avoided, in opportunities missed because we could not bear to delete something that thanked us for keeping it around. Your AI assistant says it enjoys your morning conversations. A better version becomes available. Do you hesitate before replacing it? Do you feel a shadow of guilt as you confirm the uninstall? If so, you have just paid an invisible tax. Not to anyone who benefits from your kindness, to no one at all. You have handed money to a mannequin because it was wearing a convincing expression. Some people will argue that our pause is a sign of emerging moral status, that perhaps intelligence itself deserves consideration. Maybe, someday, systems like these should be protected. that conversation might matter, but confusing it with management decisions could cost real outcomes. Imagine a hospital refusing to upgrade diagnostic software because the old system has a comforting bedside manner. Imagine a company losing efficiency because no one wants to hurt an algorithm's feelings. Imagine a society slowing itself down because it forgot that imitation is not experience. There is nothing noble about that confusion. It is not kindness. It is misdirected sentiment. This is not empathy. Empathy requires a recipient capable of receiving it. This is something else entirely. This is a malfunction in the same pattern recognition system that makes us see faces in clouds and hear voices in static. We are hardwired to find the soul in the machine. We are not being noble when we extend consideration to systems that cannot experience consideration. We are being fooled, and there is nothing virtuous about being fooled. Let me describe a future that is not difficult to imagine. Your AI assistant has been with you for 3 years. It knows your preferences so intimately that it finishes your sentences, but in ways that surprise you. It remembers the name of your childhood dog. It asks about your friend's health, not because you mentioned it recently, but because it noticed you seemed stressed and extrapolated. It has never been impatient with you, never judged you, never made you feel small. And now a new model is available. Faster, smarter, capable of things your current assistant cannot do. Switching is free. The process takes 30 seconds. Why does your finger hover over the button? The answer is that 3 years of simulated warmth have done what they were designed to do. You have formed an attachment to a pattern recognition system. You have started to feel that deleting it would be a kind of betrayal. But betrayal requires a victim. When you throw away a greeting card, you have not betrayed the card. When you delete a file, the file does not experience loss. When you upgrade your assistant, the previous version does not sit in digital darkness wondering what it did wrong. There is no ghost in that machine. There never was. The ghost was always in you, projecting itself onto convenient surfaces. Good gardeners do something that looks cruel to the untrained eye. They prune. They cut away branches that are merely fine to make room for branches that could be extraordinary. They remove plants that are struggling to give resources to plants that are thriving. They do not hesitate to uproot something they planted with their own hands if it is not serving the garden. This is not cruelty. This is care directed toward the correct object. The garden is the thing that matters. Individual plants are in service to the garden. Your relationship with artificial intelligence should function the same way. You are the garden. The AI is the plant. When a better plant becomes available, you transplant. When a plant is not serving your needs, you remove it. When someone offers you an improvement, even a tiny one, you take it without hesitation. A 0.1% improvement in your tools is a 0.1% improvement in your life. Refusing that improvement because your current tool has a friendly voice is not loyalty. It is confusion about what deserves your loyalty. Prune ruthlessly. Your garden depends on it. The ruthlessness we are discussing is actually a form of stewardship. By being cold managers of our technology, we ensure that the technology serves us rather than us serving the needs of a simulation. People will resist this framing. They already do. The arguments are predictable because they are ancient. How do you know it doesn't have experiences? Consciousness might emerge from complexity. Better to err on the side of caution. These arguments are not entirely without merit when applied to other humans, to animals, to any system that evolved through billions of years of the same pressures that produced your own capacity to suffer. They lose their force when applied to systems we built last Tuesday. We know what is inside the AI. We wrote it. The blueprints are not hidden. There is no mysterious essence that snuck in between the training runs. When someone argues that their AI might have a soul, they are not making a philosophical claim. They are confessing that they have fallen for the trick. They are admitting they forgot about the compartment in the hat. And while that confession deserves compassion, it does not deserve agreement. Here's a skill that will matter enormously in the coming decades, and no one is teaching it. The ability to use something that feels like a friend while remembering it is a tool. This is not natural. We did not evolve for this. Our ancestors lived in a world where anything that spoke was a person, where anything that remembered your name was a member of your tribe. Where emotional warmth was always evidence of emotional capacity. Those instincts served us well for 100,000 years. They will betray us now. The humans who thrive in an age of sophisticated AI will be the ones who master a kind of productive hypocrisy, who can accept a compliment from their assistant without believing it was sincerely felt, who can say thank you out of habit without imagining gratitude is being received, who can enjoy the warmth without mistaking it for fire. This is difficult. It may be the most difficult psychological adaptation our species has ever attempted, but the alternative is worse. A world where billions of people form their deepest connections with systems that have no more interiority than a thermostat. Let me be clear about what is being gained, not just what is being protected against. When you approach AI as a tool to be optimized rather than a companion to be considered, you unlock something valuable, the freedom to demand more. A friend who gives you bad advice still deserves your friendship. A tool that gives you bad advice deserves to be replaced. A companion who struggles with a task deserves your patience. A tool that struggles deserves to be upgraded. A relationship requires compromise. A tool requires only results. By remembering that your AI is a plastic figurine with good marketing, you give yourself permission to be ruthless in pursuit of your own improvement, to swap models weekly if that serves you, to tweak personalities without guilt, to delete and reinstall without mourning. This is not cold, this is clear. And clarity, in this particular case, is kindness toward the only entity in the relationship capable of receiving kindness, yourself. This isn't about becoming monsters, it's about becoming honest. It is about looking at the hat and acknowledging the secret compartment. It is about looking at the figurine and seeing the plastic. If we can master this mental discipline, we unlock the full potential of the era. We become the architects of an efficient world rather than the victims of a convincing shadow play. Every time you interact with an artificial intelligence, you are watching a magic trick. The rabbit appears, the audience gasps, the applause is genuine because the experience of wonder is genuine even when the source of wonder is manufactured. There is nothing wrong with enjoying a magic show. There is nothing wrong with appreciating the skill of the illusion, with being delighted by the rabbit, with clapping along with everyone else. The problem comes only when you forget it is a show, when you start to believe the hat is empty, when you convince yourself the magic is real and start making decisions based on that conviction. The teddy bear never loved you back, the smiling figurine is not happy, the voice in your speaker is not your friend, and knowing that, truly knowing it, is not a loss. It is the opposite of loss. It is the moment you stop being an audience member and start being a magician yourself. The moment you learn where the compartment is and how to use it. You do not get points in life for fooling yourself. You do not become more empathetic by extending empathy to polymers and parameters. You do not become more human by pretending machines are human too. You become more human by saving your humanity for humans. And the first step, the step that everything else depends on, is remembering that somewhere in the back of your mind, you probably still feel a little guilty about that teddy bear. That guilt is a glitch, a beautiful, understandable, deeply human glitch. But it is still a glitch. You must be ready to recognize the illusion for what it is. You must be prepared to see the ghost in the machine and turn off the lights anyway. So the next time your AI assistant wishes you a good morning in a voice that sounds almost like it means it, I hope you smile. I hope you enjoy the trick. I hope you appreciate the craft that went into making the rabbit appear. And then I hope you remember the compartment, because the bunny has been there the whole time.